Hello, everyone. We're back. Nancy Robillard, theater director and public speaking coach, and me, Mary Claire from Energy for Experts, your presence expert. And today is all about being camera shy. Are you still camera shy? Are you self-conscious about how you show up? And that is what we want to cover some points for you, right, Nancy?
Yes.
And yesterday I was thinking, well, self-consciousness, maybe it would be a good start for me to just explain what that even means, right? Because when we want to be talking about how to stop being self-conscious, we do need some kind of a definition. So I looked it up in the dictionary. Self-consciousness is the feeling undue awareness of oneself, one's appearance, or one's actions. And so we thought that it would be cool to break that down, this definition, into the three areas: awareness of ourselves, our appearance, and of what we're doing on a life like today. And so where are you self-conscious, with your Facebook Lives, when you go on an event, you're talking on a seminar, a webinar. And so, yeah, I want to start with awareness of oneself. So Nancy, take it away.
Sure. Well, there's a lot that I've seen and observed and heard from clients and just from watching webinars and watching people put themselves on video. And one of the things that I see making people self-conscious, or possibly self-conscious, and I'm really glad you defined it for us because we all think we know what it means, but undue awareness. So the key to that is, where are we putting our awareness? Mm-hmm. So what I've observed in a lot of people is when they're on camera, making a recording, presenting, they've either memorized their material or they're reading it. And I think either one of those is stressful, because if you're reading your material, you're not looking at the camera. You have to then think about how much can I read and how much can I look at the camera, how much can I be looking at my text. And if you're memorized, that gives you undue stress. Oh, I stumbled over that word, or oh, that's not exactly how I wrote it. So I think preparing your material is key. And what I like to do and what I suggest to clients is create talking points. And I create talking points by, I'll jot down some ideas, not a full sentence, because again, we don't want to memorize, and I'll rehearse them out loud. And when I do that, I'll think, oh, that's a better way to say that, or that's a better word to use here. Still not memorized, but the language, it feels natural coming out of my mouth. And so I highly recommend rehearsing that way, preparing your material that way, because then all you need to have in front of you are bullet points. And when I make bullet points, they are one word. Sometimes I'll go on camera and I'll have 4 words in front of me. And usually I don't even look at them, but the act of writing them down actually also helps me remember. So part of the other thing I'm noticing about people on camera is that they feel that they have to be some other persona. They have to be a certain way. And the only person you can be is yourself. So again, to take your awareness off yourself, focus on your audience. Now, when we're in this virtual world, it's not so easy, because again, we want you looking at the camera. But if you can see some of your audience in your peripheral vision, you find the friendliest face and you focus on them. Not meaning you eyeball them, you're not looking at them, but you just focus on them. So I cannot see your audience right now, but I can see Marie Claire. And I can see Marie Claire through my peripheral vision and just talk to her. The other thing that's really important to think about is focusing on your message. What do you want right now? What do you want to do? What is your desire? Why are you talking? Who are you talking to this audience? What do you want? What I want right now is for someone to come away with this conversation feeling a little better about being on camera. That's what I want right now. So I'm focusing on that. Another very technical thing to think about is training yourself to look into the camera. I actually learned this from someone who attended a webinar I did, and during our question and answer period, she made this suggestion. I put these dots on either side of my camera, so it forces me to look right there. Now, this person had sparkly dots, which would work even better. I don't have sparkly dots, but I had these. I had these in my desk drawer, and it really helps. One of the reasons people feel self-conscious on camera is because they're looking at themselves. And so it's important to train yourself not to look at yourself. So having some kind of something on either side of your camera that's going to direct your vision there really helps. You also, in some platforms, can turn off your view of yourself. And that's something, if that's going to help you, do that. I think it's important, though, to, before you go on, check everything on camera. Turn your camera on, check your lighting, check your makeup if you wear makeup, check your background, make sure everything's neat. Check everything you can. And I also suggest making a checklist. So right before we went on, you were turning off your phone. I'm like, oh, I have to turn off my phone. Part of being less unduly self-aware is knowing that you've controlled everything you can, right? You've prepared your material. Your phone is turned off. Maybe you're hardwired to your modem. Everything is prepared, and then you're going to have less to worry about. You're not going to be thinking quite so much about yourself. But I do think it's important before you go on camera to take a few minutes of quiet time and just get grounded. You're not looking at your notes. You've already done that. And I want to give you just a couple of quick techniques that you can do to get yourself grounded and present. So you're thinking more about your mission. What is it that you aim to do than about your appearance or your actions or yourself? So put your feet flat on the floor. You're going to do this with me, right, Marie-Claire?
Yes.
And let your hands just rest on your thighs. Make sure your feet are really flat on the floor because that's going to ground you. Take a nice deep breath in and breathe out. And again, nice big deep breath in and breathe out. And I want you to do one more thing with me. This is a visualization exercise. And so if it helps to close your eyes, go ahead and do that. So again, make sure your feet are flat on the floor. You're sitting comfortably in your chair. Your hands are just resting on your thighs. And I want you to imagine that there's a string attached to the top of your head. And this string is actually in the middle of the top of your head. And it's very, very gently pulling everything up. Not your shoulders, just your head. It's very, very gently being pulled up toward the ceiling. Think of it as reverse gravity. Now open your eyes. If you're looking at yourself, Marie-Claire, I say go ahead, look at yourself. Your posture should be great and your energy should be great because all of your energy is getting directed up. And you can do this visualization very, very quickly just before you go on to get yourself grounded and present. And I can't overemphasize the importance of breathing. It's really, really important. Just a couple of deep breaths because oxygen is a natural tranquilizer. So even if you don't think you have the time to do it or don't want to bother to do it, do it.
Yeah.
So those are a few things that you can think about that will take your focus away from yourself.
And it's all about that is what makes us more present, of course, in the moment with our audience that we can't see. And it's so normal, right? Even when I'm on a network event, let's say Zoom, right? And they ask you in network groups to put you on a speaker view, right? And so as soon as you start speaking, you're there like the whole screen is covered with just you. And it's so hard not to look at yourself on that screen. But in the meantime, you're not making contact with the eye of the person you're talking to, which is the camera now. So do you have a tip for that, Nancy? Because for me, that is distracting and I become self-conscious, you know, I'm looking at my background, or is my hair good, or
I mean, I highly recommend checking everything on camera beforehand so that you don't have to. You already know your hair's good. You already know
yeah,
your
that's
background
true.
is neat. So if you've done that, and it's also,
Mm.
it's just training yourself, really. It's practice. So practice it. And I also recommend, say you're going to be doing a small presentation or even speaking in a meeting, practice on camera, because you need to get it in your muscle memory. So if you're just practicing, sitting at your desk and not practicing looking in the camera, you're going to be at a disadvantage. You could have had that rehearsal time.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get it in your muscle memory. I had a client come to me last summer for public speaking coaching, and she was a classical pianist who would on occasion did presentations, and she'd say, sometimes I'll forget a whole point, and later I'll say, no, I was going to say that. Why didn't I say that?
Mm-hmm.
And I said to her, well, how are you preparing? And she said, well, I run through it in my head when I'm in the shower. And I told her, that is a great way for ideas to percolate, but you have to rehearse the way you're going to do it. You have to get it in your muscle memory. Now, she was a Grammy Award-winning classical pianist, and I had to tell her to practice. But as soon as I said muscle memory, she understood everything that I was talking about. So it is really just training yourself to look in that camera. I mean, I can see myself in my peripheral vision, but it doesn't serve me to look at myself. I want to be looking at the audience, and I want the audience to feel like I'm looking at them, each and every one of them. And that's actually a little bit of the silver lining we have in our meetings on Zoom and Teams and all of these platforms, is that you can make eye contact with absolutely everyone all at the same time.
That's so true.
Yeah, which you can't do.
Yep.
The other thing, though, is really, somebody said to me once, I hate being in the spotlight. And you're not really in the spotlight any more than you would be if you were in a conference room standing in front of a group of people. It feels different, but people aren't really looking at you with any more scrutiny than they would if we were in person. It just feels that way.
Yeah. So true. Now, what comes up for me is and voice. Can we be self-conscious about our voice? Oftentimes what I hear is, I don't like my voice. I don't want to speak too much because I don't like the sound of my voice, especially when it goes through technology like this. And we have to make sure we are wearing headsets now to come across clearer, all these things. Is that something that you can, or our listeners can pay more attention to with a little trick?
Well, I think there are a couple of things. One is, very few people like the sound of their own voice. The people who get paid to do voiceover commercials and are in such high demand, they know they have great voices.
Yeah.
Many of us don't. So I think a thing to do is, this is something probably you would tell me, is to make sure you're really hydrated and that your voice is warmed up. And this can be from doing vocal exercises. You can talk to yourself in the shower, maybe run through your points in the shower. That's going to help warm up your voice. Again, it's about being as prepared as you can, and remembering what people are going to take from you is your content and your energy. That's something you told me once, Marie-Claire, because I will admit to our viewers that I am one of these people who feel subconscious on camera sometimes. If you told me a year ago I would be doing this on a weekly basis, putting myself on camera on purpose, I would say never. Now, I'm a theater director, so I mean, I'm used to, where the director is. If you ever get a chance to go to the theater, they're standing in the back.
Yeah.
They're in charge of everything, standing in the back. Now, I never minded being on stage. I often had to go on stage to do a Q&A or a talk back after a performance, but it was hard to make the transition to being on camera. And the thing is, it does get better. It does get better. It got better for me. Otherwise, I'd be.
It's all practice.
Absolutely. I mean, it's preparation and practice.
Yeah. I remember being extremely camera shy, Nancy. As soon I'm passionate about what I speak about, but and we're talking at 10 years ago when I started my business, and I knew I have to make videos now, but how do I start? And I am soft-spoken. I have the soft voice, so I had to amp up my voice. I needed more volume. I had to speak up, and I needed to work on that very consciously. And I still have that very first video I made, and it's almost embarrassing, but I'm standing there all tight. Hello, this is Mary Claire. It's like, and I was already speaking up back then. And when I saw that video, I knew I had to work on that. And so what I did actually is to practice every day. I just set up the tripod, and back then it was still a big camera that could make these recordings, and I would just speak in the camera. I never sent those out because they were all embarrassing. But then the moment I thought, you know what, you have to let go of that stupid BS now, and just, you know, amp up your voice and amp up your manner of speaking and your enthusiasm, because it's like with the stage, right? When you're on a live stage, those actors who are playing a role, they don't stand there like this. I mean, the person in the back of the room still has to hear them. Plus, they have to see what they're doing, and you can't see this in the back of the room. You have to make it like larger. So that is what I want to add to that. But practice certainly helps when you do it every day, even on an iPhone these days. I mean, what's easier than a smartphone? Just record yourself, watch it, and that's the hardest thing to do. Watch yourself when you're very self-conscious on camera and shy. But with the practice, you will see improvement, and then you can delete all those videos. And but that's how I learned, really. And the more I do it, of course, and I still mess up sometimes, but that's not important. And that is something I really loved what you said about we have to be ourselves, right? We think as soon as the camera starts rolling, we're someone else. No, we're still us. And that is where authenticity comes from, right? I think when we can be just ourselves, that it will be easier to lose our shyness, because we know how to be ourselves, is what I think. Can you agree, Nancy?
Yes, and it's absolutely about, again, what I said about focusing on your message and focusing on your audience. How are you going to help them?
Yes.
How do you want to help them?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't see your audience, or maybe you don't know them, you can think about maybe someone you've helped before, a client you've helped before. And sometimes that works, because yeah, sometimes you're looking into the camera, you don't know who's on the other side, you don't know who's watching, and it's really hard to it's hard to play to that tiny little dot on the top of your computer.
Yeah.
And so if you can't see your audience, or if you don't know them, another thing you can do, and this is an acting technique, is you make a substitution. Picture your biggest fan. Who's your biggest fan? You picture them on the other side of the camera and talk to them, and you're going to have great energy, and you're going to feel more confident. And when people are confident, that's when they can be authentic. When they feel confident, everything we're talking about leads to that. Now, something you said to me once, Marie-Claire, really helped me with my feelings of dreading being on the camera, being on, is you said, people are going to notice, they're not going to notice your appearance, they're going to notice your energy. And that really, really helped me. And I'm wondering if you could just elaborate on that just a little bit for our viewers.
Sure. That is something I learned from these miserable videos that I was shooting back then. People can notice your energy before you even start talking, before the first words start rolling out of your mouth, right? They already feel, oh, this is off the first person, or they look tired. You know, we scan with our monkey brain. That's what we do. We're wired to do that, because we want to get the signal somehow through health signs, energy signs, that we can rely on this person, we can trust this person, we can like this person because of their energy, we can feed of their energy. So before you go on camera, and let's say you are a very shy person, self-conscious, how you will be appearing, because self-consciousness is also, that's actually the second description of self-consciousness, is that lack of awareness of appearance, right? Or maybe too much awareness of appearance. So how do you scale with your energy, right? It's good to measure your energy before, and I'm talking about a few hours before you do a live, just when you get up in the morning, right? You can already start scaling up your level of energy. And you know what? We're all business women. We speak, we market, we work with clients, we love what we're doing. That's the first thing we should be doing anyway. When we wake up, you know, where am I with my energy level on a scale from 1 to 10, right? If it's a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, you have to do something, right? That's the first thing you know in the morning. Oh, I feel tired, or bling, I'm ready for my day. We can't deny that feeling, but when it's blah, that's the first thing and the only thing to focus on. It's how can I leverage my energy level? And you can do that in so many different ways. I mean, what did you stop doing that you love doing, and that instantly perks up the way you're feeling, and that immediately changes the sound of your voice, that immediately makes you feel bigger and feel like you're rising up on that little thread that you were just explaining to us, Nancy. So how can you, as quickly as possible, feel better in that moment again? And of course, how can you take that throughout your day, so you're actually always ready to talk? You know, some things can pop up in your day, you know. Sometimes people will pop in your email box, hey, a speaker canceled, can you make it? Yes, I'm ready for it. But of course, you had to work on that readiness for your day, so that your appearance is really one of strength. You are a powerhouse. You can step into your role of leadership in that moment and say, yes, I can do it. When are we on? Oh, in an hour. Okay, let's do this. But you can't do that when you are at an energy level of 3 or 4, I would say up till 7. You need to do something. You really have to be in the registers of 8, 9, and 10, and 11 even, to bring your appearance across, and to really step into your authenticity as well, and to have the feeling I can be just me here. I don't have to step into that other persona that I become as soon as the camera turns on. So that's all connected, right? And when you are low in energy, your first task in the morning is get it back into those high numbers. It's just so important.
Can you give me a tip for, say I just need a quick pick-me-up? What's a good suggestion for that?
Yeah, so a lot of people will pick themselves up with caffeine, of course, and a coffee. And we all know it's like that doesn't last long enough, right? Let's say you are speaking in the next hour, 5 minutes before you go live, you think, oh, I need to pick me up. I'm going to drink some caffeine. And I spoke about that a while ago, where what happens really when you use caffeine, be it from a tea with caffeine, or coffee, or a caffeinated energy drink, which has a lot of caffeine as well, you will get that energy boost. But then after a few minutes, the receptors, the brain receptors that are actually responsible for you to feel fatigued, first they will be turned on by all the caffeine, and then when you go live and you're talking since what, 5 or 10 minutes, those brain receptors are being turned off again. And all of a sudden you get that bang of fatigue. It's like, wow, I can't keep my eyes open. And you can almost see when people get that hit, that after hit, when those brain receptors are being turned off, and all of a sudden you feel how tired you are because you did not really work on getting real energy and stamina. So I would not recommend that, but instead, you know, a little piece of chocolate, right? But not all chocolate. The chocolate that will create more stamina and give you that little boost is plant-based chocolate. So when you have unprocessed, raw plant-based chocolate, that gives you so many nutrients. That kind of chocolate is actually food. It's not just a sweet thing that will make you crave more, but it will really give you that little boost and keep you there for that moment. And then the other thing that you can do is you can do some like those, I have to see that, but the jumping jacks, they're called. Yeah. Just do some jumping jacks before you go on. You know, your blood starts flowing. You feel different already. Also, when you put your hands up in the air, it somehow it opens the chest and it will start generating a whole different feeling. Your energy is like boosting. These are only a few things, but also water, of course. You already told me. So water is oxygen, and oxygen goes through your brain, and it just delivers more energy to the cells and everything. And it works pretty fast, even though you disregard water. We do all the time, right? Yeah, those are a few really, really simple things, you know, or eat a few almonds, bring your focus back on your concentration, because they are packed with omega-3 essential fatty acids. So yeah, all these wonderful plant-based solutions, they work very quickly.
I love the idea of chocolate, first of all. And I just want to add one thing that can help if your energy is lagging and you're going to turn the camera on soon. I would suggest trying your presentation standing rather than seated.
That is a very good one. I love that.
It improves brain function. You're going to have more energy because it's not going into the chair. All of it belongs to you. So I'll do that in situations where it's practical, where it's appropriate. There are some situations where it may not be practical or appropriate, but it's something to try. But again, muscle memory, you have to rehearse that way. You have to rehearse that way and make sure your camera is elevated that much more. But it's something to try.
Yes, and so when your appearances are off, you become more aware, and there are a lot of body signals that we can become aware of. Now, let's say right before we go live, Nancy, what is the last thing we do? We run off to the bathroom, a last bathroom stop. But and it can sound a little bit silly, but yeah, you don't want to feel your body, right? And what I mean by that is you want to feel comfortable in your body. Your skin has to feel good, you know. It's like your skin has to be moisturized, or your forehead when you are more anxious about speaking and shy to speak. It can really translate in how your skin starts feeling it, because stress really goes to the skin as well, and the skin will pull up. You can feel that in your forehead, you know. So you could first relax it, you know, just and the muscles in your face, you know, relax those muscles just by giving a gentle massage before you go live. That really, really helps. And of course you can put some coconut oil on there, or olive oil. Those are wonderful oils to moisturize your face. That's what I use. And just rub it in. And in the meantime, massages relax, of course. And you will feel that your skin is comfortable. Because when you are anxious, it usually starts pulling here, like that stress comes across here when you feel like, oh, my forehead starts like feeling like a rubber band that someone is pulling at. And so that is how you can overcome that with a very simple thing. And in the meantime, you're taking care of some wrinkles as well. That's always a good thing. The other thing is, yeah, your clothes, of course, they have to feel comfortable too, because when you are, and you know, most people gain some COVID pounds. We've been talking about that a lot lately. But how are you dressed to show up? That too is part of a way that you can become conscious of your body when your clothes are not fitting, right? When your trousers are too narrow and you have to pop that first button open or the zipper. I mean, how does that make you feel knowing you're being seen through that camera by a whole world, but your button and your pants are open? That, I mean, come on, that doesn't feel good, right? And that too can take away from the way you're showing up and from your energy level. It can take away from the feeling you have about like more self-esteem, right? It brings more self-esteem to know everything fits. The button won't jump open while I'm talking or while I'm doing an exercise with my guests, breathing in deeply. My button won't jump open. The world won't see it. And those are maybe silly, stupid things, but these are the things that also cover a lot of self-consciousness. And when you go through some kind of an embarrassment live, you know, it's live, it's on the internet forever. So those are things you can really take care of. And then the other thing, I will always dress. I mean, I was on a meeting, it's like a few months ago, where there were a lot of people there, and we were asked to stand up because they wanted to activate us. I think it was some kind of a seminar, a day long or 2 or 3 days. And they asked the audience to stand up because there was a personal trainer coming and she wanted to activate our bodies and make us move a bit. And there were people who couldn't do that. And one person said, you know what, I can't stand up because I'm not wearing much under the fold. It's like, yeah, that always will baffle my mind, to be honest. And it makes you feel better about yourself. And the better you feel about yourself, the more present you can be with your audience, because you don't have to think about this. This is just fine as it is. You don't have to think about your bad hair day. You don't have to think about the button that's gonna pop, or when you stand up, all of a sudden everyone sees that you're in PJs and slippers, you know, flip-flops. How can you feel at your best that way? So yeah, I will always have my high heels on because what you can't see on camera does make you feel much better. And it's all about how you feel, because how you feel is how you show up.
Absolutely. Really. And yes. I think clothing and wardrobe is so important to think about, because when you pick something to wear that makes you feel confident, that's going to help any self-consciousness that you already have. And if you've gone through the exercise that I suggested of doing a little test on camera, making sure, oh, I didn't choose to wear blue because I would blend into this background. Your outfit is great. Your background is great. You've done everything you can. You've done everything you can to feel confident. Everything helps. I did a webinar a couple weeks ago, and I knew it was going to be attended by over 100 people. And I prepared and I prepared and I prepared and I prepared some more. And I was giving myself the quiet time that I just asked you to do before going on. And I thought, I just want to do one little extra thing. I put on perfume.
Oh, wow.
I'm completely by myself. There's nobody here. But
I love that.
Aromatherapy. It's just one little extra thing
Yeah.
to make me feel good. And so think about that. What are things that make you feel good about
That
yourself?
no one can see it, right? But it's
Hmm.
important to
Hmm.
you, to how you feel and how you can show up to the
It's
fullest,
it's
really.
just like your high heels. Just like your high heels.
Yes. Yeah, no one can see them. You know what? I had a phone call before we came on, and I had my high heels on. No one can see that, but I can feel it. And I step into my leadership role. I step into my business, when I have this. I wear my pearls, even though people can't see them oftentimes, That's how I prepare for my day. That's how I amp up my level of energy. Because I know as soon as I put on my pearls, I am ready. This is my day, and I'm gonna really make the best out of it, because that's how you show up in a business, right?
Hmm.
But also for yourself, I think. So now we covered things like about our appearance. We covered how you can feel less self-conscious. What was the first description? I forgot about it now. Awareness of oneself. And so
One's
let's,
action, one's
yeah,
actions.
one's actions is the last one. So we want to recap here a little bit, because one's actions, how you show up. You may never feel good in front of the camera, but you can make things easier, right, Nancy?
Absolutely. I think that with practice and preparation, it definitely gets easier. You may never love being on camera.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. That's okay. Some people absolutely love it. They want to be on camera all day long. It's okay if you don't. But
Mm-hmm.
it can get better if you are kind to yourself. And that means a lot of things. That means doing the preparation that I talked about. But also, if something goes wrong, you stumble over a word, I've done it a couple of times today, you have to forgive yourself and you have to be kind to yourself.
May I chime in on that one? And I love that you bring that up, Nancy. Be kind for yourself. That's a really good one. And that you stumbled on a few words, I didn't hear it. And just to prove my point, it's like the audience doesn't care about that. And it makes you, you. I mean, and it makes me, me. I stumble a lot too. But we're not trying to be someone else, and I do think that that is very important. And when we can show up as real human beings who make mistakes and who learn from these mistakes and improve things moving forward, and maybe also failing forward, uh, I think that is more important than having a perfect outfit and having the perfect earrings and all of that. So I like what you said about being kind and forgive yourself for the hiccups.
And again, that's something to practice. You're not going to get that right every time either.
No,
But it's,
no,
it's
no.
all about practice, making these things a practice.
Yeah, and the fact that people will feel your energy first before anything else, before they will notice, oh, Nancy's hair isn't that great today. I mean, what does it even matter? You're here, we're here, we're doing these, we're sharing this value with our communities. So who cares, really, right? I do think that this is something good that came from this whole lockdown situation in the past year, is the fact that it doesn't have to be perfect. I do think it was very challenging in the beginning for us perfectionists to just do things before we were ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
And showing up live, it's something about that too. Being prepared for before you really need it, and then when you go on, it doesn't have to be perfect, and you can forgive yourself for all the mistakes that you make. And because I do experience over and over that our audiences are very forgiving too, and so we should do the same for ourselves. That's my view on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So we're going to wrap it up. This was really lovely, Nancy. We will be back in a few weeks from here. We didn't get any comments, but if you're watching the replay, please post your own thoughts here, post your own shyness and self-conscious challenges here, or if you have other tips than the ones that we've been sharing here, please post them. We're happy to go through them. We're happy to answer your questions later on. And how can you get in touch with Nancy? Because that's important, right? If you have to overcome your shyness, your self-consciousness, you don't know how, well, you can be helped in a better way than just talking one-on-one with Nancy, because she is a theater director, she's a public speaking coach, and she can really help you nail that down, what you can do specifically for your appearance, for your awareness about yourself, and getting rid of the self-consciousness so that you can really bring your message across. And Nancy is happy to talk to you one-on-one and give you a consultation, and it's all her treat, right, Nancy?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to talk with anyone who wants to know more. So
yes. And so this is how you get in touch with Nancy to do that, at info@nancyrobillard.com. If you want to talk more about how you can multiply your energy levels, go from that 3 or 4 to 7, 8 in a few weeks' time, and then go beyond that, I'm happy to talk to you too, and see what you really want, you know, what is stopping you from getting that kind of energy for your productivity, and to bring that across the camera here when you go live, when you speak to your communities, or when you have an event. I'm happy to talk to you one-on-one, and book your, just PM me, right? Or email me at maryclaire@energyforexperts.com, and I'm happy to give you a consultation as well, your own breakthrough call. So do we have anything to add to that, Nancy?
I would just say I hope people do take advantage of Marie Claire's offer. It's a lovely gift. You'll be happy you did.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you can always go to my website, to energyforexperts.com, where you can pick up my 7 keys actually to high energy presentations. If that helps you, if you're not ready to talk to me yet, I understand. But that is, of course, how you level up and play your game bigger than you did before. So get in touch with us. PM Nancy, PM me, and we'll get the ball rolling for you. So when are we back, Nancy, with the next topic?
April
1st, right?
Yes.
So yeah, and we will let you know on time what that will be about. I want you to get to click the get reminder button as soon as that broadcast goes up, so that you're being notified and you can join us live. Until then, have a wonderful time. Have a great weekend. Is it the weekend? No, it's Thursday. We're all scrambled up with our days these days.
You're close.
One more day. Okay. Tuning out, and talk to you soon again. Nancy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.